Welcome back, everyone. We are back with Mr. Bobby Gustafson joining us today in the vault, and we were just talking about the first record, Feel the Fire, and touring and talking about a little bit of hanging out with Lemmy and stuff like that, how much fun that was.
Yep.
Let's get into Taking Over, and at this point now, you're a machine. You know, you guys have been together for a few years.
Yeah.
It's a solid unit. It's definitely a unit to be reckoned with. This new sound that has emerged in the metal world called thrash metal. You are one of the forefronts on it, because I was in Exodus at the time, so I knew all the other bands that were right up there. Talk about that time. Talk about writing and the camaraderie of the band. How were you guys clicking at that time?
Everything was still good. Rat was in the band,
right,
for the first two albums, so that wound up being his last album. But we had done a Halloween tour for 2 months in Europe, everywhere in Europe. Great tour.
And they're a big band over there.
Yeah, they were really exploding on that album.
I'm sure that's why. What was Keeper of the Seven Keys?
Yeah, part one.
Yeah, part one. Yeah, because they did too. Yeah. Yeah, that was Kai was still in the band, right?
Kai was in the band.
Yeah,
I think they had Iron Maiden's management.
Yeah, Rod Smallwood. He definitely, because we did Headbangers Ball with them, and Rod was still managing them. Yes,
I didn't even know that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they were great. We had a lot of fun with them. The tour was great. We finished that, and we had the Megadeth tour on Peace Cells. So we were home for about 3 days, and we went down to Tampa and started with Megadeth. And did another 6 weeks with them. Because
you played in San Jose here at a venue.
That was supposed to be the last show.
The Bronco, but they don't do, it's all Latin music now. It's like, there's no.
That was the very last show of the tour. I think we all started drinking early. Cause I don't think Megadeth wanted to play. Uh-huh. So they were going to go home, and the club asked us if we would play. And still do the show. So we agreed to do the show. We did the show. That wound up being Rat's last show. We did one more actually at L'Amour's, like a goodbye show for him. But that wound up being like his last show when he told us he was leaving. We're like, what the hell's going on?
What happened there? Talk about that.
I don't know. He says he didn't like the road and he was drinking too much. I think it was more he missed his girlfriend, which later became his wife. We didn't really communicate too well after that or whatnot. But
that happens to a lot of people, Bob.
Yeah.
Even to now, especially at our age that we are touring.
Yeah, I mean, the
people
road
don't want to do this.
You think it's going to be something different, and you think you're going to be pampered.
They're going to see MTV, and it's going to be like, and it's so not like that.
No.
I mean, that when people come, and my friends come out and go, they'll come with us even today after 4 or 5 days. They're like, how the hell do you do this for 6 weeks?
Yeah.
It's like, it's what I have to do. It's part of my job. You know what I mean? You take the good with the bad, like in everything, honestly.
And at that point, I don't know if we even we were still touring in campers. We didn't even have a bus yet.
Uh-huh.
So you're sleeping on your luggage. AC never works. You got the whole band and the crew showering in the same room. You're sleeping on the floor, some cockroach hotel. It's like, wait a minute, what happened to the dream? What the fuck? No, that's not it. So it might have been a little too much for him, and he just had enough. So
he never really did anything musically after that, did he?
He had like a little local band he was playing with.
Because he did some video stuff. He actually put some of that stuff,
of
that stuff that you guys did on the road. Video Rat Skates.
He did something like his own little Born in the Basement thing.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
he may have done another.
Yeah,
there was like a thrash thing that came out with all the bands in it. I think he had his hands in that, but I haven't spoke with him in years.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. So then, what happens after that? And how are you guys feeling? The three of you now going, okay, well, Rat just quit. We're kind of still on our upswing. What do we do now?
Exactly. I mean, it was a shock to us. We didn't know where it was coming from. So we had to keep going. So then we started holding auditions, I think, at L'Amour's. We found a guy, because I think the very next tour after that was with Testament.
Uh-huh.
So we found a guy, Mark, who had learned the songs well enough. He was a real good drummer, learned the songs well enough to go out. And we went back out on tour again, did a little summer tour in a van through Texas with no AC. All of us in the van.
And you're still alive.
Laying on top of our
God.
duffel bags. And we made it through that tour. And then there was an incident where we were in Texas and a chair broke in a restaurant. One of our roadies fell. And they thought we were effing around with it. You know, it's like, no, he just sat on it and broke. He leaned back and it broke. They called a bunch of cops. They like surrounded the van and they're questioning our roadie. And the drummer starts rolling a joint right there. We're like, dude, God. What are you kidding me? We're in Texas.
Oh my God, in Texas.
Yeah. So when we got home, he got his walking papers. And we had held editions again, which brought us to Sid.
Sid.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And then he wound up staying with. I think he was friends with the lighting guy and our sound guy that were also from upstate, and he was up there. So then he was next, and he was in the band.
So now you guys decided to start writing the Years of Decay right after this.
Under the Influence was next. That was Sid's first album.
Under the Influence.
Yeah. So we had some stuff down. I had some riffs that I got off of, sound checks at tours and stuff like that. But that was our weirdest kind of period, having a new drummer. And he blew right away as far as like timing and tuning his drums and being in the studio. I mean, he was flawless with that. And we actually got better having him in the band. It stepped us up because now we're really tight live, which, it was kind of iffy before. But, yeah, that one album, I think Dee Dee had a couple of riffs on that, and he was like really into Anthrax, so kind of some stuff I think I didn't really agree with, and it kind of sounded a little different, and that's the one we mixed out in L.A., recorded upstate and then mixed in L.A., but there's a lot of great stuff on there, but it's probably, out of the 4 that I did, it's probably the least favorite from people, so it is what it is.
That happens. We have one of those.
I think everyone does.
We have one of those. Yeah, we know. Actually, I do on the show here, and the fans have been hitting up. I go over every one of my records, and I talk about the recording process and what we were thinking at the time. And that one's like next, and you should see him. We want to know what you think, and I just kind of held back because there's that one record where there's just. It's the only Exodus record. There's songs on there I actually cringe when I hear.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And to some other people, no. I mean, I talk to other artists that think it's the greatest record, and some people, I'm talking about Force of Habit, and and some people are just like, Anyway, I know how that is.
Yeah.
But so did you tour for that? Did you do any touring of that?
That was that's when we had the Slayer Motorhead tour. We did through the States.
How many dates?
Probably same thing, about 6 weeks. So
with Lemmy every day for 6 weeks?
Yeah, man.
How great is that?
Exactly.
I know.
Hell yeah.
I'll
Slayer
sit in a van.
Motorhead?
I'll sit in a van for that. Are you kidding me? I get to see this every night.
But yeah, that's when we kind of, we got some money going. We stepped up and we said, look, we don't like one of us driving an RV. We don't feel good at 3 a.m. You can't sleep. We need a bus. So we finally got our bus. That might have been the first tour we actually had one.
And we're talking 88?
Was it 88? Yeah, probably.
About 88.
Yeah, probably about 88.
88.
And that, that was a good tour. We went all across
Did you
the
do
States
Europe?
Again. We did Europe again, I think, with Slayer, not with Motorhead.
Not with Motorhead.
But we may have gone, I think we may have gone there on our own and did some shows here and there on that album.
In the time of no festivals in Europe, huh?
Still no festivals.
Unbelievable.
Scorpions and White Snake rule the day.
Yeah, that's what it is now.
Yeah.
You may play with Scorpions and White Snakes on a gig. You know what I mean?
Your name is like this big.
Sometimes. No, not really. No.
I think Metallica's probably the one that broke. Being the first one getting in all those festivals.
Well, there really wasn't all those festivals. Now there is.
Yeah, there was 2 a year.
Yeah,
you didn't get on. That's it.
Now there's 10 a weekend in every different country going. Yeah. They got them going
Names get so small towards the bottom you can't even read them.
Depending how you're doing. As long as you got new material come out, you keep your name hanging up there. But
luckily Violence is like up here.
I've been very fortunate that the logo is very noticeable. So it always, I have to every once in a while see, it down there, but for the most part, the logo's usually where you can see it.
Yeah, ain't not bad.
So that's good. Got to see that.
Yep.
So talk about the writing of the Years Decay, because to me, that was the record.
Yeah.
I love that album.
Like I said, I wasn't too happy with a lot of stuff on the third album, so it sounded a little too happy to me. So I went darker, and I just kept everything dark, and I wrote all the material on that album, and just I was flying, man. Things were going great. I had the album cover concept. I had all the, what I wanted for pictures, what I wanted to sound like. We had Terry Date, which was the first time we used Terry, and we went away from Pyramid. We went and recorded in Connecticut. And the other albums was like, yeah, we try and get everything to sound good together. This one, I put my foot down saying, look, we're getting the guitar sound first, and everything else is going to work around it. I said, because I'm on my fourth album now, and I'm not happy with any of the guitar sounds. So he's like, yeah, that's cool. And he didn't put up a fuss with anything. He worked, really well with us. We got that
shit
sound.
He's done too.
And and then after that, he exploded from that album. But
yeah, with everything.
But I had, I had all that material saved up. I always just make a collection of riffs until I get them all together, and then that just wound up being perfect. Having Terry go into a different studio, we had that SSL board, which is automated, which we never had before, and it just all worked. It just all worked. It's one of those times where everything just falls into place.
Well, I think even the fans will agree that exemplified Overkill. I mean, you were banging on all cylinders as far as really coming out with killer songs with your own sound, your own identity. This is you had Anthrax obviously there, but Overkill set. There was Overkill. And when you listen to Overkill, you can. Blitz's voice is very distinctive. Your guitar player is very distinctive.
Like you too.
You know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. When you hear it, you know who he is right off the bat.
Yep.
Which I think is sometimes a better compliment than being able to actually be a good singer. I guess that's my cop out, and I'm sticking to it too. I guess that, but at that point, you guys are firing, and there was only really about a year left. Talk about the last year.
Yeah, we went through, that whole album. We went out and toured on our own in the States.
How was everybody doing at that time with each other? I mean, we're 4
fine.
albums now. We've been stuck in vans together for 4 years. How are we getting along? How's our camaraderie?
I remember talking to Dee Dee almost every day. I mean, there was always something happening. We were always on the phone. There was no ill feelings at all. I mean, we just kept getting bigger as a band.
Right.
We wound up selling out the Ritz, the old Studio 54.
I remember the Ritz.
And that was like over 3,000 people. So that's the biggest show that we had done. We kept getting bigger audiences, and it was like perfect. Okay, the album's done. We did one last show. We did a benefit for a young girl up in North Jersey that wanted to be in my physically last show with them. It was an outdoor show. We started to get ready to do the fifth album. I think Dee Dee had some riffs. I had some riffs. I even have a videotape, I think, at my parents' house where we were trying to put stuff together. I wanted to, remember it, so I was kind of videotaping to have it. But they wanted to do a Halloween show at L'Amour's just for money, because Anthrax used to do that. They would play before Christmas, get Christmas money, and Dee Dee got wind of that, and he wanted to do the same thing, but he didn't want to do a real Overkill show. He wanted to play some covers, goof around. I said, well, if you're going to do that, you can't charge the full price of an Overkill show.
Right.
I mean, that's not right. We're not giving them an Overkill show.
Were you playing any Overkill music at all?
Yeah, we were going to do about half and half. So, I mean, I didn't agree with it, and just arguments.
Not so bad. I think the novelty of seeing you, at least you're playing Overkill songs, and but I mean, I understand. I totally understand.
Yeah, I mean, we were getting ready for the fifth album. We just sold out in New York, and I'm like, let's leave them with that memory, not Blitz getting drunk and doing covers and like just a big mess. I'm like, I don't want that to be our last memory. So the argument got more and more heated on the phone to the point where I'm like, well, don't book the show because I'm not going to go. I'm not going to be there. And then that was kind of it. I guess that was their final straw. And
but was it a straw? Was there a lot of straws leading
there was
up to it?
There was other stuff. I mean, at one point, Didi even quit. He didn't want to do it anymore. And he was gone for like 2 weeks. And me and Blitz were talking about getting a bass player.
And then
he came back. So we took him back, and the roles got reversed. All of a sudden, they wanted me out. So, and, you know, there's a lot of probably little stuff and a lot of monetary things that happened that, you know, were done behind my back and this, that, and the other. And it was just like, you know what? I'm done. I says, we got bigger each album. We doubled each album sales. We got bigger as a band with each album. And now you're throwing a wrench in the gear for one show at L'Amour's. So I had enough. So that was
the final straw.
Yeah, I think
when
that
was that,
it.
Bob? What was there? That was 90, right?
That was 90, about 90, yeah. Because I know the outside show was October, so this probably happened about December, January 90 into 91.
Okay, so you're fed up. You left the band. Mm-hmm. What's going through your head right now? You've been a musician and did all these records for the last 4 years. Did you feel it's like, oh shit, I just wasted my time? Am I going back home and go find a job because I don't want to do this anymore? Am I going to try to piece another band together?
Just start another band.
Yeah.
So I started Eye for an Eye. And
weren't you going to use Tom in there, right? At that time?
Yeah, I had two Eye for an Eyes. One was the East Coast, and then before I came out here.
Yeah, because you lived here for a little while.
Yeah, 2 years.
Yeah,
a little over 2 years. But that was the next step. All right, get another band together. We wound up going out playing shows. During that time, towards the end of that band, I think was the final straw with them was when I was going to audition for James when he got burned. And that was the last show I had done with them. I got into something with them that night. But we still played our show. We got through that. Along that period is when the Cycle Sluts called. They needed someone to do a solo. And then the gods are looking at me again. We got a tour with Motorhead for 2 months. You want to come? Hell yeah.
We played some shows with the Cycle Sluts. They're fun.
They're fun, yeah. Fun. And I'd known them for years, even before I had joined the band. So I'm like, yeah, fuck Eye for an Eye. I'll go out with you.
So now I got to talk about something, and I'm sure people are a bit curious. Back in the day, if you were to take you and James Hetfield and put you guys' picture up next to each other,
I was a better looking one. That's all I
so that's what you're going to say. So I'm glad you said that you're the better looking one. Because, I mean, I would look and go, you guys look pretty close. Guitar. Now, I mean, I'm not saying you didn't do it first. You know what I mean? I'm not giving you that. He stole your look.
Well, not all of it. I mean, he's actually the one who recommended the guitars.
He did. Okay.
And I got my Gibson, and they gave me the White V, White Explorer. Still play them. Love them to death. But sometimes you can do something first, but you don't reach as many people as someone who hits 1 million people. So they think he did it first sometimes, and you're just still on the ground.
It's just like you guys, like, if I would see a picture, I'd be like, oh my, Bobby and James are like, and I'm not giving you any, I mean, because I love James as well. I mean, it's a great look. Both you guys hold your guitars down where you're supposed to hold them, down to your fucking knees. It's a hella heavy look, but I mean, it was kind of,
everything, man. I'm sorry. The hair looked.
It was
similar.
Fucking dead. That's the armband.
That was a Misfits thing.
That was the okay. So
the other guys in the band, we were wearing that stuff for
I'm
years.
I'm not saying again. There's my disclaimer. I'm not saying you didn't. I just had to bring that up because it was something that was me as a fan, as a music fan, say wow. In the same genre, going, wow, James could play in Overkill. Bobby could play in Metallica, no problem.
I'll take that paycheck.
I bet you would. So would I. And I don't even play guitar. But talk about you. So you were going to go in and play just guitar when he burned himself.
Yeah.
Did you audition ever?
Yes,
you did.
They had called me. Tony called me, their road manager at the time, and gave me the entire set list to learn in 2 days. So I had like 18 songs. But I didn't know I knew bits and pieces of Metallica. I couldn't get my way through an entire song. That's just not what I did. I didn't learn other people's stuff. So they probably thought I knew it. I did the last show, which I should have canceled, but I did the last show with Eye for an Eye, and they were flying me out to Denver to audition. And I said, well, I can't learn all these songs. I'm like, what am I going to do? So I tried to learn the changes off the vocals. I said, let me get really into the vocals and I'll get all the changes in. I was supposed to leave Newark Airport. There was a downpour for like 10 minutes and it delayed my flight for like 4 hours. So I wasn't getting into Denver till really late. And James was still in pain then. So he didn't wait. He left. So they canceled it for the night and we went the next day. I'm like, oh, great. I got some time to work on this stuff. But then the next day he didn't even show up. So, and then they auditioned on 5 songs. So I'm like, oh, why didn't they just tell me the 5 songs? I could have spent all that time learning them instead of spreading it out.
Right.
So, yeah, he wasn't there the next day. It was just me, Kirk, and Lars, and Jason.
So it was between you and John Marshall then. It wasn't like 5 other guys.
John, I think they kind of knew, would be the backup plan if nobody else worked out. Because I think Pepper auditioned.
He did.
I know, Mike from Flotsam was there the same time I was.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, he tried out too. And there may have been like, a couple others, just a handful. They kept it tight because they had to get it done and get back out on the road. So, yeah, I missed out on that. That probably would have been pretty cool. That would have been my first outdoor stadium rocking show.
You got one waiting for it. They're waiting for you.
Now I do.
My son's band was actually playing with you guys this year on one of them. Was it Perry Beyond the Grave? One of the one in Belgium, I think. Hatred.
Yeah.
Alcatraz. Yeah, Hatred was on there with you, my kid's band. Yeah. They would have been playing with
I met him at Dan Riley's house.
So now, I know that you moved to California for a couple of years, and what brought you out here? I know what brought you out here. Tell everybody else what brought you out here.
Billy Milano. Me and him in his car. We were going to do an MOD record. We actually started putting some riffs together along that same time period as the Psycho Sluts and everything. And Billy had his eyes on Perry. So we packed up and came out here, set ourselves up. We were going to start recording and putting things together. We got an apartment for like 2 months in Concord. And within 2 weeks, Billy left. He's like, oh, Johnny Z's not funding the album anymore. I'm going home. I said, well, I kind of like it here, and we paid for the apartment, so I think I'll stay for a little while before I go home. Kept my stuff here, and
2 years later, huh?
And 2 years later, I wound up. We were going to Debbie Abono's house every day, and Billy would just drink a pot of coffee, and be Billy. And I'm like, here I am sitting down, like watching him bounce off the walls, and then I knew Debbie, she knew me. We kind of like got more, familiar with each other. Yeah. And then, within that 2 month time period, after hanging out with her and her family, they're like, well, why don't you just move in? I was like, all right. So 2 years later, I was living out in Concord. And
loving California.
Best time of my life just being out here with them. I mean, she treated me like family.
She was the greatest.
Yeah, took me on vacations
with
her family. I mean, I was like,
everybody who comes in here can have a Debbie Abono story.
Yeah.
It's great.
Absolutely.
It's great. So you came out here, Bully Dance didn't really work all that well. You moved back to New York and then went to Florida?
No. I stayed here. I tried Eye for an Eye again with John Torres and Tom. Your drummer, Tom. So we had some songs. We did a demo. We tried doing, handing that out. There was a couple of good songs on there, but that just didn't pan out. Then I think we were going down. Remember those concrete conventions?
Yes,
in L.A. I went down there, and I'm still friendly with Dave and Lombardo. So he was like, "Oh, I'm putting a band together. Why don't you, you're in California. Why don't you come down?" So we started trying to put some stuff together too. I would travel from here down there, drive to his house out in Victorville in the desert.
Was that Grip though? Wasn't Grip?
That was Grip.
It was
yeah.
Grip.
I named it Grip. He liked it. We had a singer. And me and just Dave and me, and we were just trying to put stuff together. And I think the final straw was like something with me and his ex-wife. I think she was blaming me for like hair in the shower or something. And it was like his bass player had these hairy ass Italian legs, and I'm like, I didn't even take a shower yet, you know. So I'm like, I don't need this. I'm like, fuck it. I'm like, I'm driving 8 hours down here to, you know, get yelled at by your wife. So that was the end of that. And he continued on. He got some
now,
other
did you
guys.
do any gigs with Grip at all? Ever?
No, we didn't have a song done yet, and it fell apart.
What year is this now? We're talking
94 maybe.
94.
About 94. And then through Debbie, all the bands that she had managed, Screw was one of her bands. They were in Austin, Texas, and their guitar player split while they were in the studio. So they needed more guitar tracks and stuff. And they're like, oh, could you come down? I was like, yeah. Went out and met them in El Paso, laid down tracks. And they're like, hey, we have this 2-month tour with Creator coming up. You know, you want to go on that? I was like, yeah, sure. So I wound up living in Austin for 9 months.
Wow.
After the tour.
What a great place. Austin's great
yeah,
too.
it was great. I mean, I had a good
Austin's
time there.
a music city, so it's fun.
Very much so. But that wound up not going so great on the tour, I don't think. It just clashing and having 2 bands on the same bus and crew.
Yeah.
It was a little tight. So.
What band were you on the bus with?
With Screw.
Oh, you were.
Creator was
Creator and Screw were on the same bus
on
together.
the same bus together
Oh,
with
my.
both crews. Yeah, so that wasn't fun. And then shortly after that, I went down to Florida. I went back to New York, grabbed my stuff, and I was off for Florida.
What brought you to Florida, Bob?
My parents had a condo they had bought years before, and one of my sisters had moved down there. And then from being on tour, it was always like nice. Every time I was there, I was like, "This is great, man. The weather's great. The ocean's there." I'm like, I got sick of New York, and
Were you done with the business at this point?
I was for a while. Yeah, I'm like, I got to get my shit together because with Screw, I'm like, you know, sleeping on the floor, sleeping on people's couches, and I'm like,
Right.
I'm like 34 at that point. I'm like, I need to get my shit together.
Right.
I need a roof over my head. My brother-in-law was already down there, so he hired me, started plumbing with him, getting a salary, getting a house,
That's
doing
good.
that whole thing. And then, you know, kind of the internet comes around and people are like, hey, you should start playing again, you know, and
I sat out for a good 9 years.
Yeah.
Actually, Perry and I had a little project. I was working as a union. Everybody knows I was a union carpenter.
Yeah.
Right when I got back into Exodus in 2014, I had just received my 20-year pin from the union.
Amazing.
So it's just, you know, you had to do what you had to do. I had a wife and 3 young kids.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You had to take care of the business. People thought, I mean, what I thought it was when I was a kid didn't. There was probably so many things where I said, This isn't what was on the cereal box. Wait a minute. This wasn't what was on the box on the toy. Wait. When I looked at the record labels and the records, all the collage pictures, they were having such a great time.
Yeah, making money.
Why didn't I get this?
what
What
happened?
happened to me? You know, so I mean, there's a bit of bitterness to it, but I love music, and I always did. So I always continued on. I did do from '93 when Exodus finally stopped until. What was that period, 99 or 2000?
Yeah.
About 2000, and I sat out.
They started without you while we were doing F-bomb.
Yeah.
That got us going, and then
Yeah.
we both jumped back in.
Yeah, I didn't. 7 years I coached baseball and did coach soccer and went to work every day. That was it. Didn't even play music.
It's been 20 years since I was down there plumbing. I mean, I did different things. I tried electric, house painting, you know, and then back to plumbing again. It's like it's been 20 years now. You know, you got to earn a living. You got to take care of
what you gotta
kids.
do.
Yeah, exactly. And you
gotta
know,
do.
now with the internet and a band from Italy wanted me to do a solo. And they were like, you could play and just send it to us. And I'm
Right.
like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. I don't have to.
It's the
be
greatest
there.
thing ever.
And that got me thinking. It's like, okay, could play with guys that are not even in the same state. You know, because when you were younger, you looked for the kids in your neighborhood. You know, you were going to play with the kids in your neighborhood.
Sure.
That's just what you did.
That's all you knew.
Yeah. Exactly.
You didn't know that.
You weren't driving yet.
You didn't know that you could play with a guy in New York. You know,
Yeah.
that would have never even, you never thought of
Completely
that.
changed the ball game.
Totally. It totally changed the ballgame.
Yep.
It totally. So when I remember on Temple of the Damned, you had a band that opened for us in Miami Beach or one of the places. Your band opened for Exodus on tour during Temple of the Damned, 2002, 2004 maybe?
Was that
It was in Florida.
That might have been Response Negative.
It might have been. It was in a club that night. You were supporting Exodus. I don't know. I thought it was called Eyes. Was there? Did you just have a band called Eyes?
No.
Then maybe it was Response Negative. It was like it was a club show with Exodus.
I think we did somewhere.
Yeah.
The last time I seen you play was at a titty bar in Fort Lauderdale. Do you remember that? About probably 4 to 5 years ago.
Oh yeah, that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
40. Oh, I remember.
Yeah,
that.
I went down there. I was the one sneaking pictures over my shoulder
Yeah.
of the girls on the pole.
Yeah, I remember. That was.
That was the first time I was over there. I didn't even know they had bands. Never been at that club.
They did. Brian Borner brought us down there.
Oh, did he? Okay.
He was booking that. You know Brian.
Yeah.
He was booking that.
Oh, yeah, that was a big place.
It was great, but I never
Crowded
played on
as hell.
stage when
Girls
were on
sliding down a
poles
pole,
in front
yeah.
of me. I wouldn't be watching me. I would be
oh.
watching them.
It's like, oh, she's hot. Selfie
I
time again.
I couldn't even. I was like singing, and they're like, it was like a fucking circus going on. I'm like, bonded by blood, bonded by blood. Yeah,
that was very.
That was
strange.
it. That was it.
That was a great show.
That was a lot of fun. It was a lot. So, I mean, you've been flying under the radar, and now we're going to get into it. You got a call in January. Talk about the call.
An old friend of mine, some guy I'm staying with now. I don't know, this guy Perry. They're like, you
almost had a band with him for like 2 weeks, like 40 years ago or something like that.
It took us 35 years to start a band,
Exactly.
but we finally got one. Yeah, they're like, hey man, we're putting a band together. It was like, no. They were.
So Perry was your first. Perry was the first one to call you then.
Yes. He's like, would you be interested in learning the songs and coming out and playing? Yeah, I was like, hell yeah. Yeah, so I had my own little thing in Florida, but I'm like, to be at that level,
this level,
this band,
and I have to tell you something, because again, this is coming from Killian on Command when Sean was sick,
yeah,
and then we this gig that we all had participated in, and then last March, was it March, right, Perry? Was it March or April? They came back and did a show in Oakland, 2 shows, and to see the response from the people and the people all over the world. And now when I go on the road, because we just brought Death Angel and we were just out with Death Angel and Testament, it's like, oh, Bay Area, bring violence with you. You need to bring violence with you. And it's like, so knowing that there are bands that have gotten back together and, gone out, but I've never, to be honest, never seen the buzz that Violence got when they got back together. And I don't know if that comes from Sean being sick, and being able to come through it, or Phil leaving Machine Head and putting Violence back together. But the buzz on them and the buzz everywhere is like, didn't you guys sell more shirts than anybody at a festival last year, and you should have brought 4,000 more or some shit like that? Exactly. That's when you see me doing that, guys. I'm talking to Perry, who's hanging out with the spider right now. But just to hear that, and to hear that when they did the in-store that you have to do, because when you do the festivals, you have to agree to a signing session, but they're actually fun as hell.
Yeah.
That there was more people for them than anybody that weekend that played. So to be that excited, to hear these kinds of things, for me being their friends, and for years going, oh, come on, would you guys get back together already? I'm in the I'm back with the mothership. I can see what's going on here. If you do this, it's now nostalgia, and people want to, and they're so fascinated by Bay Area thrash, let alone, and there's so many of us still doing it. Yep. That's why that tour did really well, to see all that stuff. And then, and nothing. I love Ray. I loved him when he was a punk guitar player in a band called Social Unrest. I loved Ray. You fit this. If they found somebody who could come right in, and for me, I played in my first band with Phil and Metal Warrior in 1983 on parole, actually, I think it was. And I put the photo up last week.
Is that the photo in the quad?
No, it's the photo of me on my brother's Harley with Danny and Phil. And it's great. Oh yeah, old school the whole way. To see that and see that you've come in to accent Phil as well as draw the whole guitar thing out. Again, nothing against Ray. I'm excited for what Violence is doing right now. Talk about that. Talk about, have you written a song with them yet? Have you actually, is there new material? I heard there's a little bit of new stuff going on. Have you experienced that yet?
Yeah, we've got a couple songs. Phil is really taking the reins. He's got so much material.
Yeah, he does. And he knows how to do that too.
Yes.
He's very good at facilitating his writing and how to get everybody and get it. And this is what we're doing. And it's good to have somebody like that.
Yeah. I mean, he knows what he wants, and that's the best thing.
Gary,
yeah.
so I know
Yeah,
exactly
It's
what
like, no,
that's
do it
like.
this way.
I don't have to think about it. He thinks he
about
knows
it.
how it's going to go.
Yeah. So I mean, we didn't get a chance to really write yet, but we will. I mean, we're going to do more stuff in the future. We're going to get his ideas out now, get his plan out, and get these songs. The songs are freaking great. There's about 3 of them done. We got to get 2 more. Just get it together. He's got plans for all that, signing the Metal Blade and getting that whole ball rolling. And once that gets done, we'll sit together and bash stuff out. And
right, it's always a good period to learn how the river flows, then jump in the boat and start going. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. Follow the current for a little while.
I mean, again, to hear that, when I get to hear these things before some other people do, and I was on a gag order. Sorry, I'm not selling who told me that, but I was told, and I was like, no fucking way, and I was like, welcome back to the ranks. Welcome back to where you belong. And to me, it's like, I guess if you can't be with the mothership free, and I'm meaning Overkill, if that's not, in the cards to do that, it's great to see you with Violence and with a heavy, and it's great to have that. You guys are like East Coast and West Coast connection now.
Coast,
you know what
West
I mean?
Coast,
East Coast, West Coast, baby. So that it's good to have. It's good to have you back doing that. And have you've done a couple of live shows, haven't you?
We were about to. We got everything.
So that hasn't happened.
We
yet.
got everything canceled. Yeah, we had the big show here at Oakland.
Oh, that would have been
this whole year's canceled.
You back. Yeah, the
whole year's canceled. Yeah, I think the first shows were going to start in February. So I was, crunching to get these things down. They already had Japan, Australia, New Zealand lined up, and Sean just like whips through all these things, gets everything set up, and we had the year mapped out. I have
a couple of people in South America I was trying to hook him up with doing stuff like that.
He did. He wound up getting that all going.
Yeah, exactly.
But
and you guys did Puerto Rico too, right?
Yes.
That was the last show. Yeah. With just Phil. He did that.
Right. Yeah. That's how were they? Good. Treat you well, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Great place. That's what I'm saying. This is going to happen for you, Mister.
Yeah.
It's good to. It's totally. Soon. It feels good to be back, huh?
Hell yeah.
It feels good to be back on the level you deserve. You deserve.
Thank you.
To be back, and people can now see you at because there's so many people. Even when I was out of the band for 10 years, even though I kept myself busy musically, people are always wondering what you really weren't up in the forefront of what Bobby was doing right now. And there's a lot of fans that are like, wonder what Bobby G is doing right now, man. Is he still playing? And so for the fans, the older fans, especially the old guys, the guys that have been here that, with us for 45 years, been with the beginning, they love to see this. And I think you really add that much more to knowing you as a player, knowing you as a person and a performer. I can't wait to see this live. I can't wait to see.
It's going to be great.
See this. Now you're out in California this week. What were you doing this week in California? Just working on some stuff?
We were.
Can you talk about it?
Yeah, I got the thumbs up.
Can you talk about it? See, I'm not looking at you. I'm looking at him. That's why I'm going. I know. I'll go there.
No, I came out. We did a little bit of new material. We jammed a little bit.
New Violence.
Yeah, and we filmed a video.
Filmed a video for New Violence.
We're not going to say what the name of the cover is.
Yeah, we're not letting everything out yet. But yeah, we came out and we did a video.
But that's good though. It shows everybody you're working and you're coming out.
Yeah, I mean everyone basically has stopped working, so it's kind of an idea of giving giving the fans something to hold them over.
Well, I mean, stop playing live, but not stop
Yeah.
working. Everybody's
No.
writing
Everyone's
feverishly right now.
2021's
I
gonna
bet
be
you
nuts.
21's you're gonna get. They're gonna be a backlog of records waiting to come out because everybody's gonna be so
Be like
fucking.
5 Bay Area bands on a bill.
I know. Well, we'll have ours. We'll be ready for 221 too.
Yeah.
Seeing the progress. Everybody's looking on social media. Gary and Tom have been getting together lately, and that's the thing. They're locked out, so
Yeah.
a lot of us are going to have. That's going to be a good tour.
It's gonna be good
That's going to be
stuff.
good. Violence, Death Angel, Exodus, and Testament.
yeah.
I see it happening. I see this big tour happening in the horizon. I like that.
And that's the one thing I always liked about the Bay Area is that the bands were all working together, all friendly with each other. There was no competition like New York. It was like you didn't
You know,
go.
it's funny that you say that because I did Metal Allegiance not this last January in 2000, but in 19 I did it, and Blitz was singing on the show, and me and Chuck walked in and we saw Osageda and we saw Alex and Phil, who are all Bay Area guys, and we're all, what's up? We're all hugging each other. He goes, and Blitz even made the comment. He goes, see, all of the West Coast, all of the Bay Area guys,
Yeah.
all are cool. There's there's no hey, there's no shade and we're better than them and fuck those guys.
Yeah.
We want each other to succeed, and we know where each other sit on the pecking order. So it's not like,
and you've
we're
all
trying to
been
say
in
we're-
almost the same band at
Exactly.
one point or
Believe
another.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
A lot of them.
Yeah.
It's definitely. So I think it's, especially now in my age, I know there was a time where fuck those guys. We got to step on them and believe in this. I'm pulling for everyone.
Yeah.
I want you to be successful.
grow up a little.
When I hear that you join, when I hear that Violence is back, when I hear that Death Angel is nominated for a Grammy,
Yep.
when I am jumping for joy. When I hear whatever Metallica does good, anything that Testament, anything, any one of the boys of us here are doing, I feel very proud. Even Journey or Santana, any Bay Area people, I feel like that's my home. These are my people.
Yeah.
This is where I came from. I came from this music scene, even though I'm maybe not that genre, but I came from that, and I'm very proud. And the metal scene here, like you've seen, is this, if you would have played those gigs, it would have been in at the Metro. It would have been 1986 Ruthie's Inn. That was the atmosphere. It was balls out, man, and it was so much fun. And I was so looking forward to this, and I think everybody was.
Yeah,
And
just
it really brought
reschedule.
everybody back.
yeah, we'll have to reschedule, but we'll be back.
So hey, tell everybody where they can get. If they're interested in Bobby Gustafson, where's your socials? You on Instagram? Are you on Facebook?
Yeah, I did Facebook for years. I got Instagram and Twitter, which I don't do too much. But
Now they only let you say so much, and I don't like that.
Yeah.
Don't restrict me. I got shit to
too
say.
much crap on there.
Exactly.
But yeah, I mean,
Because you're back now. Now,
Yeah.
the people that watch, they're gonna love this. This goes all over the world, and people are gonna see this and go, "Wow, how?" Because I mean, there's a lot of people that don't even know you're playing with Violence yet. Really? I mean, some people don't know.
have to get on it.
Have to get on, but I'm glad you're. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you, man.
It's great
Good
to
to see
have
you.
you, man. It's good to have you. You guys, and that means you guys, leave me all the comments that you can. Of course, subscribe and share my channel. And when you are watching it, watch it not on your dumb phone. If you have to at work, I get it. Watch it on the big screen. I think my face looks much better when it's on the big screen. Thank you once again
Thank you.
for coming in, my brother. We can
Very
do this
welcome.
again because
Yes, we will.
now you're now you're Bay Area. So when the record comes out, I'm gonna have all you mugs
Bi-coastal.
back in there. We're gonna talk about that.
You know it.
That's awesome.
You know it.
Right on, guys. Okay, so another episode here. Mr. Bobby Gustafson, he's now a member of Violence. And we'll see you real soon. And we'll see you guys real soon in Zetro's Toxic Vault.